This is her third West End blockbuster since appearing on How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria.
She comes all the way from Galway, where they've all gone Aoife crazy.
I was working in an insurance company. I remember I was doing some amateur dramatics at the same time, and I used to be learning my lines under the desk. I was just so involved in that, and one day I thought, I have to do something about this. So I gathered up all my savings, which wasn't very much, sold my lovely Toyota Starlet, which I hated to part with, and I just said, I have to give this the best shot of my life.
When Aoife and her friend Abby heard about the Maria auditions, they jumped at the chance.
You look absolutely stunning.
So we went in, myself and Abby, and we got through the first round.
We'll see you next week. Abby, congratulations, you're through.
And we were delighted, and then we got through the second round.
Well done, we'll see you next week. Still be Maria, we're going to see you next week.
And we were even more delighted. And then we just kept getting down to like the third, the fourth, the fifth round.
In next week's semi-final, congratulations. You're through to the semi-final, congratulations.
And I remember turning to Abby saying, this wasn't supposed to happen. We were supposed to go to Manchester and have a lovely weekend. What is going on?
We were like those two kids in the playground, you know, the ones that hold hands and walk around together. So that was us.
What had begun as a bit of a laugh was about to become deadly serious.
I'm so sorry. Best friends, Abby and Aoife. You are the least popular Marias with our viewers at home so far. Andrew has the right to save one of you.
I am going to save Aoife.
I felt such a mix of emotions. In one way I was delighted and all my family were cheering, and then I could see Abby and it was the end of the road for her, you know, and I just felt so guilty.
Aoife had survived the showdown with Abby, only to be dumped in the following round by Andrew.
When I went out, I felt just a real sense of loss, because this was like my world for the last 5 months. You know, there was such a huge build up to it, and then I was cut and sent off in a taxi home. The next thing, I got a phone call from Chicago office saying that they'd like to see me for Roxy Hart, the lead role. So yeah, I went in for the audition, and about 3 weeks later I was told I got Chicago.
Aoife had achieved the seemingly impossible, from penniless student to West End star in just 5 months.
One of the bad mistakes I made was to let Aoife go early. I shouldn't have done. There are people who think, well, I wish I'd had more of an opportunity to work with them or put them in another direction. And of course she, in a way, has had the most varied career of everybody.
And I thank my lucky stars that I entered that competition, because God knows where I'd be now if I didn't.
You've got
it! As for best friend Abby, she also went straight from the show onto the London stage.
Let me get right to the point. I don't pop my cork for every man I see.
The search for a new star has boosted many a career, but for some of the younger competitors, the programme was no less than a continuation of their education. Niamh Perry joined the show before she had even finished her A-levels. Niamh is having her costume fitted for a major new West End musical, Love Never Dies, the sequel to Phantom of the Opera.
The best way for me to get into the industry was to be on a show like I'd Do Anything, and to be kind of thrust into the spotlight and put under pressure.
Niamh Perry!
First cut is the deepest, baby, I know.
I think the best way you can learn in any profession is to go out there and be thrown in at the deep end. And the fact that they had to perform every Saturday night in front of millions of people, it just prepares you for performing on a stage in front of an audience.
First cut is the
The training that I got in those, 10 or 12 weeks in Nancy boot camp and then the final 12 and all of the live shows, you can't get that anywhere else. It's not, it's not available on course in any university.
The way you hold your knife, the way we dance till 3.
My progression from the first show to the final was a very big deal for me because I was shy and I was retiring in the first show, and my personality got to come out towards the end, and I got to kind of show my true colours, which was important.
Take that away from me.
It's a very mature, sophisticated performance.
It was great. The intelligence is there, the acting is there. You did wonderfully.
Despite her development, Niamh was thrown out of the competition 2 weeks later by Andrew. Now her parents got involved.
I had her dad on the phone from Belfast, and he said, do you think she should go into theatre? And I said, well, she's only 17 going on 18. I said, why don't you consider it a gap year? Give her a chance. Well, exactly 6 months later, she's the lead in Mamma Mia, which I have nothing to do with whatsoever. And at the same time, I cast her as the first singing voice you hear in my new musical, Love Never Dies.
Working with Andrew was nerve-wracking and insane and, priceless. I've learnt a lot from the Lord.
The way you hold your knife.
Yeah, good girl.
If you have a passion for musical theatre, to be able to sit in a room and have Andrew Lloyd Webber play the piano and you can sing with him is just amazing. That doesn't happen very often.
The best that I can do
I love this.
is pray.
Yeah, now I'm interested.
I think Andrew works on the show because he's Andrew.
Excitement! Remember, things are very tender.
Phew, wow.
It doesn't matter how many times you talk it through him, he will never do what he's supposed to do in that moment.
Now, Andrew... Is it true, Andrew, that you wrote a song for Elvis?
It's the last thing he ever sung. That was the end of him.
That's not funny.
The end bit, where he's got to choose who he's going to save and who's going to let go, that is... I never know.
Lewis or Daniel?
I never know who he's going to choose.
I don't want to be in my shoes tonight, I have to say.
You know it's genuine, and it's him thinking and deciding in front of the viewing public.
Tonight, I'm going to save Lewis.
And when you talk to him afterwards, he always has a really solid reason for his decision.
Do I think really you could be a West End star? I guess you might have been there for another couple of weeks, which you should have been, but I think ultimately it would have ended this way. But I really am sorry. I really do think you've got a fantastic career ahead of you. We just got to know the performers. We got to like them. We got to become friendly with them personally. And the programme really kind of evolved. What we said was we're not making a television programme to humiliate people. We're not there to torture people. We're there to nurture them. And the line, nurture not to torture, stuck, absolutely stuck. And it became our mantra.
One contestant who needed a bit of nurturing was former cabaret singer Craig Chalmers. For the past 2.5 years, Craig has been the leading man in the touring